What is going on, Scotty Nation, and welcome back to another episode here of the Highland Scotties Teambuilder Dynasty here on NCAA Football 14, as we're back here for some Scotties Sports Talk. And hopefully you guys are enjoying the series so far, especially here as we're starting. We're in week 6 now here. We're in a bye week in season 7. And we've already got quite a few good recruits here. We'll show you guys some of those new recruits that we got. But let's take a look at some of the stats so far this season with our team. As you see there, 5 touchdowns, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions there, and 1,472 yards there for Jasper Reed, the young man, the pocket passer, and of course the last year's Heisman Trophy winner, who had a great year so far here this season. He's continuing, at least trying to continue on and trying to get better from last season, even though I mean, he won the Heisman Trophy, but he won it in a not so convincing way. And this year, he wants to kind of put a stamp of approval here and try to see if he can win the second one here for us. But he'll be our second. He's our second Heisman Trophy winner we've had in this series, but he will be the second person, or the first person, to try to win it at least 2 years in a row. You see our receiving yards there. Our receiving yards leader, Ramirez, 671 yards, 4 touchdowns. Godfrey, he's right behind him with 504, 8 touchdowns. And Godfrey, of course, he's had some pretty good games. And of course, he's kind of a dark horse. We're trying to get him at least considered a Heisman Trophy candidate for this season. We're trying to get the ball to him more often. And with doing that, we've been trying to move him around on the line, either in the slot position, or in the, place him somewhere in wide receiver 1 or wide receiver number 2, 3. So we're trying to just different form, or just put him in different areas in the formations there when it comes to wide receiver position. Kind of just trip up and trying to trick out, and to try to expose him into other positions there in the wide receiver position, so we can get the ball to him more often. So that it just doesn't come, it's just unnatural to the CPU there when we're throwing the ball around to him. And so far it's kind of worked out for us, and we're going to be trying with some other formations there with him as well this season. It's our total tackles leader there, Eric Washington, 31 tackles so far this season. Defensively, we've been doing pretty good. We've been giving up quite a few points. I think the most points we've given up here so far in these first 6 weeks of the season is probably the Alabama game, which is, understandable. They scored 38 on us. But ever since then, we've not let anyone score no more than probably, I would say, under 30. Michigan, they only scored 24. Arizona State, they only scored 23. And the game we just seen in the last episode, which was Northern Illinois, they only scored 25. So we've been doing a great job here. I'm really proud of our boys. Like I said, this is the starting the starting 11 that we had last year. That we did not lose anybody on defensive side of the ball. Now this year, it's going to be something different, because going in year 8, we're going to lose a lot, and I mean a lot of players on both sides of the ball, mainly probably on our defense. So our defense is going to be really. We're gonna have to change the scheme a little bit, just by a slight. We got some. We're trying to get some more of those younger guys on the field here more often to get that experience. But next year is gonna be a drastic change for us, and that's something that Coach Teddy Bonds knows that's gonna happen, and he's kind of trying to prepare himself for it. Talking to him before leading up to this, at least to this video here today, he was talking with me about trying to see if we can get some junior transfers in. Hopefully we'll get some transfers that want to come in here, and also looking at some JUCO players as well when it comes to scouting here this season. So we're trying to look for some JUCO players that can help us out. They got maybe 2 years left, a year or 2 left on their eligibility. See if they can come in here and do something for us real quick, as we try to settle in and try to adjust to the changes that we'll have going into season 9. So, but yeah, we're it's a little scary, but at the same time, it's a little, it's gonna be exciting to see, and yeah, we're gonna see what we can do with pretty much almost a new starting 11 on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, there's going to be pieces here and there. They're going to be gone. We didn't really change the offense this much. Formation wise, we added some new formations in there, but personnel wise, we'll lose a couple of players here and there. But for the most part here, I think that's going to be really exciting to see, because we've got a really good, lot of youthful players that can help us out on the offensive side of the ball. I think more so than the last couple of years that we've seen here in this series. It's going to be really exciting to see how that's going to come about, and we'll try our best to, try to adjust to that as well. So as we were in week 6, we take a look here. Highland, of course, number 1 in the nation. Ohio State, number 2. Florida State, number 3. They jump up 1 spot. Michigan also jumps up 1 spot from 5 to 4. LSU, they jump up also spots from 6 to 5. Notre Dame also jumps up a spot, as well as Army and a couple others there jump up a spot. Now Texas dropped down from number 2 last week to number 10. And then there you see the rest of the top 25. I think that was the Texas one was probably the only one that was really shocking. They lost there. And of course, if you guys want to catch some of those games from week 5, you guys can. There is a playlist in the description down below. It should have the games that were happening during that same week in week 5 where we were playing Northern Illinois. You guys can check those games out as well and watch those games. There are games here for week 6 as well that you guys can check out that of course we're not playing in week 6, but there are some teams, there are some top 25 schools that I think you guys will enjoy watching. And of course, those are CPU versus CPU. You guys can check those out, and it just gives me a chance to extra content for you guys here on the channel. Now they are unlisted, but as long as you have the links there down below, you guys can check those out and follow those here on the channel. They're not going to be in the playlist necessarily here for Highland's playlist, but they are going to be unlisted, and definitely guys should check those out. Or some of those may be even premieres, so it just depends. But yeah, it's CPU versus CPU. There's no commentary from me. Now somewhere near in the future we may do some commentary, but it'll be towards the end where I'll talk about the game and kind of give a wrap up, or do something other than talk about the Highland Scotties. We'll talk about outside of the Highland Scotties, so we'll talk about the other teams and other divisions, what's going on there, other players, like when it comes to the Heisman Trophy race that you see here. Davison, he is number 1 on the list. Reed is off the list for now, but we're hoping with the game that we just had, with the game that we just had with Northern Illinois, even though it wasn't a big, huge, crazy game for him, we're hoping that will bring him back at least into the top 5. But there you see Davison, Rosiski, and several others there for the Heisman Trophy race. So we do have still one person in the Heisman Trophy run. Take a look at the players of the week. Chris Bush for the Vandals there for the defensive, and then you see top Big 12, Jonathan Williams there, this corner safety, or corner there, the senior there for Arizona State, and of course David Foster, the redshirt sophomore for UCF, who has Offensive Player of the Week. Take a look here at our prospects now, and these are the 2 prospects that are on our campus this week. Unfortunately, we could not schedule them for the next week coming up here, which would have been the what the game was it. So we have a lot of players coming in for the Iowa State game. We couldn't fit those 2 in that because it was conflict of interest, because they're competing with other people that we're trying to bring in here. So we had to bring them in. I'm trying to bring in guys early as we possibly can. So we had to bring them in this bye week. So we're just kind of showing them around campus. Here's some of the players that are on top of our list right now that we have. At least we're number 1 on their list right now. Some of these are some new people that we brought in at the last minute here to just plug in for depth. And then of course you see some of the ones that are number 2 on our list, and we're kind of working on those a little bit more here. Some of them have jumped up, some have kind of fell down a couple of spots there, but for the most part we're trying our best to work with a lot of these players, and some of these we're going to have to let go at some point here, like John Wade there, and of course Hampton Cannon as well. You see Eden, he's signed now with Auburn. We were second. We were one at the top of his list there for a while there, but then since then, I guess he's just not been convinced to come to Highland, which is fine. That's okay. You know, we'll see you somewhere down the line. But for the most part here, we're pretty good. For the most part, I think for the most part here, I would say we've got pretty much everyone that we need for position wise to start, for at least for starters. Now we're going to start, you know, going after guys for some depth. You know, in certain positions. I know my corners, I'm not going to get too deep into my corners because I really like to have my corners all play and get a chance to play, you know, by swapping them out from series to series or formation to formation. So I do that quite a bit. But then really I want to get I want to focus on my defensive line, and mainly the linebackers. I want to get linebackers in there. I wanted to, you know, rotate those guys out, but also to have some depth in there, so in case something does happen, we can move a guy, you know, take him out of the lineup for whatever reason, for injury or something like that. So just have that as deep as we, you know, not too deep, but just deep enough where we feel comfortable with. Because a couple years ago we were kind of short on those positions there, and I kind of want to keep that what we've been doing with the linebacker position and kind of keep it rolling still with bringing in fresh new guys in there for a year and years. So we're looking at that. Take a look at some of the top classes here. We're one of the teams at the top, for right now, at least top of the class when it comes to signees. I think we have more 4-stars than we do. Well, we have at least 1 5-star, so we have them so far. Right now, we're first place with that. That helps out, but also too, I think we have the most 4-star athletes that we brought in here this season. There you see, yeah. So yeah, 1 5-star and 5 4-star athletes coming in here, so that's nice. That's really I'm really happy for us. We're finally getting that recognition there. You see 1 3-star there, so a total of 7 players so far that we brought in here for next season. And like I said, a lot of those positions that we're looking at, your corners, your defensive tackles, your linebackers, more so because, like I said, we're focusing on the defensive side of things this year. Of course, we do need a kicker and a punter. I think we need a fullback as well. So the kicker and the fullback are the 2 positions on offense that we're worried about. For right now, I don't think we have a fullback yet, but with the tight ends that I got for some depth that we're kind of going after, kind of here and there, we'll probably convert them to fullbacks for next season. But there you see our signees right there: Dane Westbecker, not the other Westbecker that I was mentioning in the prospect profile showcase video. There you see Thomas Lumpkin, Stewart, Ning, and then the young man there we had in the prospect video, Alana Hughes and Crum. So we do have our kicker there, so that's nice. But Stewart, we could convert him to a fullback. I think we might end up doing that for next season. He'll play that fullback position because he does have some of the skills that we need for a fullback. Actually, better than the skills that we have for the fullback that we have already. He could be that best position for next season. As for players, now as we end the week 6 and going to week 7, here's some of the players that we're looking at that we have some news on. Some of those players have locked us out. Some of those we were in the top 2, but we're gonna break our lock and we're gonna really try to make a push for them after going to week 7 here. So I believe Jason Wright, John Wade, like I said, he is too far from us to get to, so we probably will not go after him. But Roosevelt Sears, I want to definitely try to go after him. He's an outside linebacker there that I really think will be good for us. He may not start for us next season, but he definitely will start his sophomore year, so we could redshirt him next year, and then sophomore year come in. There you see Stewart, who we already seen committed already. And then what else? Let's see. Darius Joseph, he's now with Tulane. He's committed him, so he's out of the race for us. Gus Ryan, I was really hoping we were going to get him, but unfortunately he decides to go to another school. So best wishes to him and all the other players that we just couldn't sign this week. Now, as we go ahead and get ready for week 7, This is a big game here for us. This is our second Big 12 game of the season, and this is the first time we actually get to play against Houston here. This is one of the schools I was really, when they announced in real life that they were putting Houston in this, because I always like these small schools like this, and I've actually been on the University of Houston's campus before. It's a beautiful campus, and the beautiful football facilities where they have the guys go train and stuff like that. It's a beautiful facility, and because I was there for a campus visit with my upward bound students that I tutor. We went to Houston one summer, and we went on that campus. It's a beautiful campus, a beautiful facility, football facility, and everything. And then, of course, you know, they're going to be part of the Big 12 in real life next season. Actually, in the 2023-2024 season. You know, when I decided to put them in the series here and put them in part of this, I'm like, yes, we get to play against them. And I think there's going to be a good back and forth between these schools. Are small schools, pretty similar to one another, pretty similar in play. So, you know, this will be a good defensive game, I think, for the most part here. I don't think they're going to let us get away with too much. But at the same time, you know, we're not going to slack off. Now, they have lost to Kansas, 31-10. They also lost to University of Louisiana Monroe, just by 9 points. So they are a team that can definitely stick with it. You see TCU just last week, they won 38-21. Week before that, they defeated San Jose State 51-24. So they're a team that they can get down and dirty with you, and I think that's how they have to play. So I'm really nervous about this game, because this could be a game where they can really expose Jasper Reed. And we're out of the top 5 of the Heisman race. This is a game that we really need him to really step it up, so he can get back into that top 5 and be back in talks of consideration as a Heisman Trophy. You know, trying to win the Heisman Trophy for the second time on Heisman is always tough. And, you know, do I expect us to get the Heisman Trophy again with Reed? No. With our other players like Davison or maybe even Godfrey, especially if we're trying to get Godfrey in the, you know, we got to get, if they were to get, you know, Godfrey in the mix, we've got to get Reed back into the mix of it. So it's going to be tough. But do I expect to win a Heisman Trophy this year? I really do. With Davison, yes, because Davison's been killing it for us. And I'm really hoping that we can get things right. So this game, like I said, is going to be very important for us to be in there, be in the zone like we were against Northern Illinois, and just you know, come out here, you know, just play our balls off and just score touchdowns left and right, and really put a good defensive pressure on that QB for the Cougars there. Take a look at the top 25 here going into week 7, and take a look at that. Penn State there dropping from 11 to 20, and then Iowa staying right where they're at from last week, and then Michigan in the top 25 there, staying where they're at from last week. And of course, I'm gonna have to eventually make a video about what's going on in standings wise in these different divisions, especially now with USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. I'm gonna have to make a video about it and talk about it, do a little research on it beforehand, because it's been actually kind of fun seeing these schools play against, you know, these other, you know, schools that we're gonna be seeing here in IRL here in the next, you know, couple of months here. It's gonna be really trippy to see how this all is gonna play out. But take a look. There you see the players of the week there. Air Force, Jeremy Sims, 6 tackles, 2 interceptions, and then Tim Stanley there, the halfback for Auburn, 16 carries, 114 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 receptions for 49 yards, and a touchdown there for them. And of course, in the Big 12, you got Edwin Powers, player of the week for offense. There, 7 catches for 118, 3 touchdowns, 18 carries and 82 yards. Wow, the fullback there for them. And of course, Kevin Richardson, 6 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and a couple of sacks there for him there for Oklahoma State. Now, as for Houston, Jeremy Means, their halfback there. You see his numbers from this past year. and he's got a pretty good run. He's got a pretty decent run and acceleration, as well as agility, so he definitely can move around. He can break some ankles there on the field, as well as break tackles. He's pretty keen on that, and as you take a look at our carries, not too good, pretty good, as well as looseness, and of course ball carry vision is top notch as well. So he is definitely a guy that we're definitely gonna have to watch out for. He can slide in between tackles and get away from people, and we just have to try to do a good job of trying to just get him wrapped up and taken down quickly. On the defensive side of things, David Bailey is a guy that we're gonna have to watch out for. There you see he only has 5 total sacks for his whole career. Last year he had 2.5, but this is his senior year, and I think he would like to put a nice little bow on his season, taking out the Heisman Trophy winner from last year. So we're definitely have to try to keep him away from Reed as best we possibly can. There you see his strength, his tackle, and of course his power moves. Finesse moves not that great, and block shedding is not that great, but his hit power is, and that's what I'm afraid of. I don't want him to get hold of Reed, because Reed, if you know, there's times Reed can be like a piece of paper. He can crumple and drop the football. Matt Ross, the CB there for them. He has no sacks this season and no interceptions. He has 1 so far for his career. He has 1 deflection this season. So we'll try to see if we can keep it that way and avoid throwing his way too often there. I do want to challenge myself, if we have to, especially if he's matched up with, which in this case he may not necessarily. He might, but he may not necessarily be matched up with Jasper or with Chad Godfrey. But I think if anything, he obviously, speed-wise, I think Godfrey might be 2 or 3 points higher than him in the speed, so that's going to be a good matchup if that's the case. I can't remember off the top of my head what Godfrey's numbers are when it comes to speed, but if they are matched up together, which I imagine they probably would, because I think he is the best corner for them right now. Take a look at his zone. I mean, he's very scary in zone coverage there, and of course jump, and of course stamina, no problem there, and an injury. So that's definitely a guy that we'll definitely try to make sure we don't throw too often too. But at the same time, we have to challenge ourselves too. And if he is one of those players that he starts tipping balls away from, and or he does catch an interception the first time around, it's like, okay, let's put Godfrey somewhere else and get other guys involved like Randy Burns and of course Ramirez there. Larry David, their junior redshirt, 6'4", 203-pound QB. He has not much experience at all. This is his first year. He's a redshirt junior. They've kept him around for a while, and now this is his time to shine here as a QB under center. 11 touchdowns so far this season, 5 interceptions. So he's pretty much comparable to Reed, at least in touchdown and interception numbers this season so far here. He's been sacked a lot. I think a lot more than Reed has in this season, because we kept Reed pretty clean here for the most part. But take a look here. His accuracy, pretty good, not bad for a redshirt guy. Obviously, they've kept him around for a reason, and now his reason is to start playing this season. Power, 82. Awareness is getting up there. He has 75 now. And of course, take a look at the rest of his numbers. He can't really carry the ball too well. He's not good at trucking. He's not that athletic when it comes to running. So he's a bit of a pocket passer. So if we can put some pressure on him, throwing the ball there in the pocket, if we can get Olsen, Miller, Rizzo, and all those guys on the line, if we can get them just disrupt his day, oh, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be beautiful seeing him try to get away from those guys in that pocket. Kyle Olsen, the junior redshirt, 6'5", 230-pound wide receiver. He has 3 touchdowns so far this season, 420 yards this season so far, with a total of 520 for his career. So, this is his 3rd year playing. He looked like he got redshirted maybe his freshman year. and then he was able to play, or maybe he did play his, I don't know, maybe, yeah, this may be his 4th or 5th year here. I don't know, I'm not sure, but there you see his numbers. Obviously last year, not so much there, 35 yards total, but this year, we'll get some pretty good numbers there. So he is definitely their #1 guy they're going to go throw to more often. There you see some of the top players there that are on the bench because of injury. Carpenter, the right end or the left end there, and also Hearn, the outside linebacker to the left there. So it looks like the right side is going to be their better side to get, or actually, excuse me, our left side is going to be the better side to kind of run the ball to and throw the ball to. So we'll try to do that as much as we can. But again, try to mix it up a little bit, challenge ourselves down the field. We're not going to take too many deep balls unless there is a huge mismatch. And if there is, oh my goodness, I'm going to expose it. I cannot. I'm hoping that there is. I feel like there is. There's going to be a mismatch when it comes to their corners to our wide receivers, but I could be wrong. I've been that way before. So, but at least from what I'm seeing and what they put numbers wise, and I don't want to get too much of that here because this video could be even longer than it is, but I feel like we have a good chance here, and this could be a game that could really heighten the stock of Reed if we can just play smart. Keyword smart. If we can play smart and do what we need to do and not get too crazy with it, Reed could be back in that list of Heisman Trophy candidates again. So we'll see how important this, you see there, March goes on. HCC Reed knows this week's Big 12 game against Houston is important, and it is. So we'll see what we can do against Houston. Like I said, this will be our first time playing against them. It will be in Houston, so we'll play against the Cougars at their own home. They're 3-2 for the season. We are 4-0. We'll see what we can do here in week 7. Hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. That video should be up here in the next day or two. Stay tuned to community posts here on the channel, and like I said, should be a good one. I cannot wait for it to play out, and hopefully, like I said, we can get a nice victory here against the newcomers here in the Big 12. But that's it for this episode of Scotties Sports Talk. If you guys did enjoy today's episode, please leave a like. That helps us out a lot here with the YouTube algorithm, as well as just shows great support there for the series. Don't forget to subscribe if you happen to be new. Hit that bell notification so you guys be notified of the series. Of course, there's a playlist of this series down below, as well as some of the big games that I think are important for this week's top 25 here in this series. So definitely go check those out. Got about 5 or 6 games there you guys can go check out. Some of them will be premieres, and some of them will be just videos that are just up on the channel that are unlisted that you guys can definitely go check out. So just stay tuned there. Just stay tuned for the community posts. I will post which are which and what times they're going to be up. They'll usually start around noon on the day the videos will come out. So they're either on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and they'll be at noon. So just stay tuned for that on our community posts, as well as on Twitter, Facebook, and all other social media down below. But that's it for me, you guys. As always, stay safe, and definitely go Scottie Nation. I'll see you guys next time.